The pump clicked off with finality, but Karen's eyes blazed with entitled fury. "You will fill my tank for free," she shrieked, jabbing her manicured finger at Marcus's chest. When his laughter echoed across the gas station, she whipped out her phone with trembling hands. 911. "I need police immediately, this man is refusing to serve me." But what Karen didn't know was that Marcus owned more than just the station. And her husband's company had just made a very expensive mistake. Sweet justice was about to arrive with sirens blazing. The Arizona sun beat down mercilessly on the desert oasis gas station, creating waves of heat that shimmered off the asphalt like liquid silver. Marcus Rodriguez wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished restocking the windshield washer fluid, the familiar rhythm of his work providing a meditative calm to the chaos of managing 3 gas stations across Phoenix. At 35, Marcus had built his small empire from nothing, starting as a minimum wage cashier at this very station 15 years ago, saving every penny, learning every aspect of the business until he could buy it from the retiring owner. Now he owned 3 stations, employed 42 people, and had just closed on a 4th property. But he still worked the floor every day, believing that understanding your business from the ground up was the only way to truly succeed. The electronic chime announced another customer, and Marcus glanced up to see a pristine white Mercedes SUV gliding into pump number 4. The vehicle gleamed despite the dusty Arizona air, clearly detailed that morning. Behind the wheel sat a woman in her early 40s, blonde hair pulled back in a severe bun, wearing what looked like a designer blazer despite the 100-degree heat. Marcus continued his work, keeping one eye on the pumps as he always did. Customer service was everything in this business. One bad experience could lose you a customer for life, and word of mouth could make or break a small business owner. The woman, Karen, though Marcus didn't know her name yet, stepped out of her Mercedes with the practiced grace of someone who expected the world to bend to her will. Her heels clicked against the pavement with sharp, staccato beats as she approached the pump. She wore oversized sunglasses that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, and her lips were pursed in what appeared to be permanent disapproval. Marcus watched as she stared at the pump interface for several long moments, her manicured fingers hovering over the buttons without actually pressing any. Her perfectly applied makeup remained flawless despite the heat, suggesting she spent minimal time outside her climate-controlled vehicles and buildings. "Excuse me." Her voice cut through the ambient noise of traffic and humming air conditioners. Like a blade. "Excuse me." Marcus looked up, assuming she needed help with the pump interface. It happened more often than people wanted to admit, especially with the newer digital systems. He walked over with a friendly smile, the same smile he'd given thousands of customers over the years. "How can I help you today?" Karen's sunglasses reflected his image back at him, distorted and multiplied. "I need you to fill my tank." "Of course," Marcus replied, reaching for the pump handle. "Cash or card today?" "For free." The words hung in the air between them like a challenge. Marcus's hand froze on the pump handle, certain he'd misheard. The heat sometimes played tricks on people's minds, made them say things they didn't mean. "I'm sorry, what was that?" Karen's posture straightened, her chin lifting with the practiced arrogance of someone who'd never been told a no in her adult life. "I said for free. I need you to fill my tank for free." Marcus blinked, waiting for the punchline or explanation that never came. Around them, normal life continued, a family in a minivan filled up at pump 2, an elderly man paid cash. Inside for his modest sedan, a delivery truck rumbled past on the street. But at pump 4, reality seemed suspended. I'm afraid I can't do that. We're a business, not a charity." Karen's mouth dropped open slightly, as if he'd spoken in a foreign language. "Do you know who I am?" "I'm afraid I don't, but..." "I'm Karen Blackwood. My husband owns Blackwood Construction. We've spent thousands of dollars at gas stations over the years, and I demand the respect that loyal customers deserve." Marcus kept his voice level, professional. He'd dealt with difficult customers before, though none quite this brazen. "I appreciate your business, Mrs. Blackwood, but I still can't give away free gas. I have employees to pay, overhead costs. I don't care about your problems." Karen's voice rose to a shriek that made other customers turn and stare. "I am a paying customer and I demand service." Then pay, Marcus said simply. The simplicity of his response seemed to short-circuit something in Karen's brain. Her face cycled through several emotions: confusion, disbelief, and then pure, incandescent rage. How do you speak to me that way? Do you have any idea what my husband's company could do to a pathetic little business like this? One phone call from me and Blackwood Construction will make sure no one in this city ever stops here again. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach, but not fear, recognition. Blackwood Construction. He knew that name very well. In fact, he'd been dealing with them quite extensively over the past month regarding his fourth gas station property. Your husband's company, Marcus said slowly, Blackwood Construction. That's right. Karen's voice cracked with vindictive satisfaction. So you better start showing me some respect before I make one phone call and ruin your pathetic little life. Other customers had stopped what they were doing now, smartphones appearing in hands, recording the spectacle. In the age of social media, public meltdowns went viral within hours. Marcus was acutely aware of this, but something else was building inside him, a pressure that had been mounting for weeks. Mrs. Blackwood, Marcus said, his voice carrying a new edge, your husband's company is currently in breach of contract on my 4th Street property. They've missed 3 deadlines, used substandard materials, and overcharged me by nearly $30,000 for work that still isn't complete. Karen's confident smirk faltered slightly. That's impossible. My husband runs an honest business. Your husband, Marcus continued, his voice growing stronger with each word, submitted fraudulent invoices, claiming to have installed premium materials while actually using cheaper alternatives. I have the documentation, the photographs, and the testimony of 3 independent contractors who were willing to blow the whistle. The color was draining from Karen's face, but she rallied quickly. You're lying. You're just trying to get out of paying your bills. Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolling through his messages until he found what he was looking for. Actually, Mrs. Blackwood, I was planning to file a lawsuit against your husband's company tomorrow morning. The evidence is overwhelming, and my lawyer says we have grounds for both breach of contract and fraud charges. You can't. Karen sputtered, her aristocratic composure crumbling. But here's the thing, Marcus said, and now there was steel in his voice that made several onlookers step back instinctively. I was willing to settle this quietly. Business to business, professional resolution. Maybe your husband made some poor decisions, maybe he was just in over his head. I was prepared to be reasonable. Karen's breathing was becoming shallow, rapid. The crowd around them had grown, phones pointed like weapons, recording every word. But you, Marcus continued, his voice carrying clearly across the gas station, just threatened to destroy my business. You demanded free service like some kind of feudal queen. You tried to use your husband's company as a weapon against me. I didn't. And the beautiful irony, Marcus said, unable to keep the laughter from his voice now, is that your husband's company is about to lose one of the biggest contracts in their history. Because I'm not just Marcus Rodriguez, the gas station owner. You tried to intimidate. He paused, watching realization dawn in Karen's eyes like a slow-motion car crash. I'm Marcus Rodriguez, owner of Rodriguez Holdings. We just acquired the contract for the new Phoenix Municipal Complex, a $47 million project. And guess whose company was supposed to be our primary subcontractor? The laughter started as a chuckle, deep in Marcus's chest, but it grew and expanded until it echoed across the gas station like thunder. It was the laughter of a man who had just watched cosmic justice align itself with perfect, beautiful precision. Karen's face had gone completely white now, her designer sunglasses slipping down her nose to reveal eyes wide with dawning horror. No, she whispered. No, no, no. But Marcus's laughter continued, joined now by chuckles from the crowd that had gathered. Someone in the back started a slow clap. Another customer shouted, "Get her, Marcus." Karen stood frozen for a moment, watching her world collapse in real time, and then she did the only thing her entitled mind could conceive of. She pulled out her phone with trembling fingers and dialed 911. Police, she screamed into the phone, her voice cracking with hysteria. I need police immediately. This man is refusing to serve me. He's discriminating against me. He's She looked around at the crowd of amused faces, at the phones recording her meltdown, at Marcus still chuckling at the cosmic comedy of it all. He's laughing at me. The 911 operator's voice was barely audible through the phone speaker, asking for location and details, but car. Officer Diana Martinez had been having a particularly quiet Tuesday afternoon when the dispatch crackled through her radio. Unit 47, we have a report of discrimination and refusal of service at Desert Oasis gas station on Camelback Road. Caller. Reports business owner is laughing at her and refusing to provide services. Diana nearly choked on her coffee. Desert Oasis gas station, that was Marcus's flagship location. Her sister Carmen's husband, the man who had single-handedly put 3 of Carmen's kids through college with his business success, the guy who still insisted on working every holiday so his employees could spend time with their families. Copy dispatch, Diana replied, flipping on her lights and sirens more out of curiosity than urgency. En route to Desert Oasis. As she navigated through Phoenix traffic, Diana tried to imagine what could possibly have transpired at Marcus's station to warrant a police call. In the 15 years she'd known him, she'd never seen Marcus raise his voice, let alone discriminate against anyone. The man gave away more free services to struggling families than most charities. The gas station came into view, and Diana immediately spotted the crowd. At least 20 people had gathered in a loose circle around pump number 4, smartphones held high like torches at a medieval trial. In the center of the crowd stood a woman in a designer blazer, gesticulating wildly at Marcus, who appeared to be laughing. Diana parked her patrol car and stepped out, immediately recognizing the signs of a viral video in progress. The crowd's energy was electric, filled with the kind of anticipatory glee that suggested someone was about to get exactly what they deserved. Officer. The woman in the blazer spotted Diana immediately and came charging over, her heels clicking against the asphalt like gunshots. Thank God you're here. This man has refused to provide me service and is discriminating against me because of who I am. Diana looked past the hysterical woman to Marcus, who caught her eye and gave her the slightest shrug, the universal gesture for, "You're not going to believe this." Diana said, pulling out her notepad with practiced professionalism. I'm Officer Martinez. Can you tell me exactly what happened here? I am Karen Blackwood, the woman announced, as if the name should carry weight. My husband owns Blackwood Construction, and I came here for gas like any normal customer. This man, she pointed accusingly at Marcus, refused to fill my tank. I see, Diana said, scribbling notes. And did you offer to pay for the gas? Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. That's not the point. The point is customer service. The point is respect. So that's a no. Diana pressed. You didn't offer to pay. I shouldn't have to pay. Do you know who my husband is? Do you know how much money we spend on gas? I demand the respect that loyal customers deserve. The crowd had gone completely silent now, sensing the approaching climax. Diana could see several people exchanging glances, eyebrows raised, barely suppressed grins spreading across faces. Mrs. Blackwood, Diana said slowly, you called 911 because a business owner wouldn't give you free gas. He laughed at me. Karen shrieked, her composure completely shattered now. He discriminated against me and then had the audacity to laugh. Diana looked over at Marcus again, who was indeed still chuckling quietly. She knew that laugh, it was the same laugh he'd had at Carmen's wedding when the drunk uncle had tried to give a toast while standing on a chair that promptly collapsed beneath him. It was the laugh of a man witnessing cosmic justice in real time. Sir, Diana said formally, addressing Marcus, I'm Officer Martinez. Can you tell me your version of events? Marcus stepped forward, and Diana could see the professional mask he wore when dealing with difficult customers. Officer, Mrs. Blackwood approached my pump and demanded that I fill her tank for free. When I explained that we're a business and couldn't provide free services, she threatened to have her husband's company destroy my business. That's a lie. Karen interjected. I never threatened anything. Diana said firmly, please let him finish. Marcus continued, his voice carrying clearly across the silent crowd. She specifically said that Blackwood Construction could make sure no one in the city ever stopped here again. She said her husband would ruin my pathetic little life. Diana scribbled more notes, though she was fighting hard to keep her own expression neutral. And is there more to this story, sir? Marcus's grin widened. Well, officer, it turns out that Mrs. Blackwood's husband's company is currently in breach of contract on one of my properties. They've missed deadlines, used substandard materials, and overcharged me by about $30,000. Karen's face was cycling through colors now, from white to red to a peculiar shade of purple. Furthermore, Marcus continued, clearly enjoying himself, I'm the owner of Rodriguez Holdings, and we just acquired the contract for the new Phoenix Municipal Complex. Blackwood Construction was supposed to be our primary subcontractor on a $47 million project. Was? Diana asked, though she already knew where this was going. After today's interaction, I think we'll be going with someone else. The crowd erupted. Someone started laughing, then another person, until the entire gas station sounded like the world's most satisfied audience. A few people even started applauding. Karen stood in the center of it all, the full magnitude of her catastrophic mistake finally hitting her like a freight train. Her designer blazer was wilting in the Arizona heat, her perfect makeup was starting to run, and her entire world was collapsing around her in real time, broadcast live to social media. This can't be happening, she whispered. This is all a mistake. A misunderstanding. Diana closed her notepad with a decisive snap. Mrs. Blackwood, I want to make sure I understand this correctly. You demanded free gas, threatened to destroy this man's business when he refused, and then called 911 when he laughed at you. Is that accurate? Oh. Karen looked around desperately, seeking an ally, an escape route, anything. But the crowd was entirely unsympathetic, their phones still recording, their expressions ranging from amused to disgusted. Diana continued, false reporting to 911 is a misdemeanor offense. You've wasted emergency resources and potentially delayed response to actual emergencies. You can't arrest me. Karen's voice cracked with panic. I'm a respected member of this community. My husband, your husband, Marcus interjected quietly, is about to have a very interesting conversation with his insurance company. Fraud charges tend to complicate business licenses. Karen whirled on him, her face contorted with rage. You bastard! You planned this. You set me up. Diana said, stepping between them, I'm going to need you to calm down. But Karen was beyond calm now. The entitled bubble she'd lived in her entire adult life had been popped with surgical precision, and she was experiencing reality for perhaps the first time. It was not a pleasant experience. This is discrimination, she screamed at the crowd. This is harassment. You're all filming me without my consent. Someone in the crowd shouted back, you're in public, Karen. First Amendment. Another voice called out, should have paid for your gas. Diana was about to restore order when her radio crackled to life. Unit 47, be advised we have reports of the incident being live-streamed. Multiple social media platforms. It's trending. Diana looked at Karen, whose face had gone completely ashen. In the age of social media, there was no taking back what had been recorded. This moment, her moment of supreme entitlement and its spectacular backfire, was now preserved forever in digital amber. Mrs. Blackwood, Diana said, I'm not going to arrest you today. But I am going to strongly suggest that you get in your car and leave. And in the future, I'd recommend paying for your gas like everyone else. Karen opened her mouth to protest, but no words came out. She looked around. At the crowd, at the phones, at Marcus still grinning at her, and something inside her finally broke. She turned and stumbled toward her Mercedes, her heels catching on the asphalt, her designer blazer wrinkled and stained with sweat. The crowd parted to let her through, but the phones followed her every step. As she reached her car, Karen turned back one last time, her voice carrying clearly across the silent gas station, this isn't over. My husband will hear about this. Our lawyer will. Her words were cut off by the sound of her own car door slamming. Through the windshield, they could see her fumbling with her phone, probably calling her husband to unleash her fury on him. Diana walked over to Marcus, who was wiping tears of laughter from his eyes. "You know," she said quietly, "Carmen's going to want to hear every detail of this story." "Tell her I said the entertainment was free," Marcus replied. "Unlike the gas." But their moment of levity was interrupted by the sound of screeching tires. Karen had thrown her Mercedes into reverse and was backing out of the station at a dangerous speed, her face visible through the windshield, mouth moving rapidly as she screamed into her phone. That's when Marcus's own phone started ringing. He looked at the caller ID and his expression shifted from amusement to something more serious. "That's my lawyer." Diana watched as Marcus answered the call, his face growing more concerned with each passing second. "When?" Marcus asked. "How much?" A pause. "Are you serious?" He hung up and looked at Diana with an expression somewhere between disbelief and grim satisfaction. Marcus stared at his phone screen, his mind racing through the implications. The emergency injunction filing wasn't just suspicious timing, it was surgical precision. Someone had orchestrated this entire encounter, using Karen as the public face while legal machinery moved behind the scenes. "Diana," he said quietly, "I need to make some calls. This is bigger than we thought." Before Diana could respond, Marcus's phone buzzed with a text from his assistant, "Emergency meeting requested by City Planning Department, something about municipal contract review. They want to see you now." The pieces were clicking into place with terrifying clarity. The municipal contract, the construction fraud, Karen's calculated provocation, someone was trying to destroy everything he'd built in a single coordinated strike. "Officer Martinez," said a voice behind them. Diana turned to see her sergeant approaching, his expression grim. "I need to speak with you." Sergeant Rodriguez, no relation to Marcus despite the shared name, was a 20-year veteran who'd seen every scam in the book. His weathered face told the story of a man who trusted no one and suspected everyone. "What's the situation, Sarge?" "We just got a call from the mayor's office. Apparently, there's been a formal complaint filed against this business for discrimination and harassment." The caller claimed there's video evidence of the owner attacking a customer. Marcus felt ice form in his stomach. "Video evidence of me attacking Karen?" "That's what they are claiming," Sergeant Rodriguez said. "Problem is, the complaint was filed before our dispatch call came in. Someone filed a discrimination complaint against you before Karen even called 911. The crowd around them had mostly dispersed, but a few stragglers remained, sensing that the drama was far from over. Marcus looked around, noting the security cameras positioned throughout his station, cameras that would have captured everything. "Sarge," Diana said slowly, "I witnessed the entire interaction. There was no attack, no discrimination. The woman demanded free gas and threw a tantrum when she was refused." "I believe you," Sergeant Rodriguez replied, "but someone with connections is pushing this hard. Real hard. The kind of pressure that comes from people with serious money and political influence." Marcus's phone rang again. This time it was his lawyer, Sarah Chen, and her voice was tight with urgency. "Marcus, don't say anything to anyone. I'm 10 minutes away. Someone just tried to freeze your business accounts and they are claiming you assaulted a customer." "Sarah, I never touched her. I have witnesses, security footage, I know, but they are playing a different game. This isn't about what actually happened. This is about destroying your reputation before anyone can verify the truth." In the age of social media, perception becomes reality. Marcus looked at Diana, who was listening to the conversation with growing concern. Around them, the gas station continued its normal operations, customers pumping gas, buying sodas, living their ordinary lives while his extraordinary life crumbled in real time. "There's more," Sarah continued. "I just got off the phone with the city. Someone leaked information about your fraud claims against Blackwood Construction to the press. But they twisted it, now it looks like you're the one being investigated for fraud. That's impossible. I'm the victim here. Marcus, someone very powerful wants you gone. And they are willing to spend serious money to make it happen. Diana stepped closer, lowering her voice. Marcus, my sergeant just told me the discrimination complaint was filed before Karen called 911. This whole thing was planned. On the other end of the phone, Sarah was silent for a moment. Diana's right. This was a setup. Karen Blackwood was just the trigger. Someone wanted to provoke you into a public confrontation, film it, and use it as evidence of your violent and discriminatory behavior. Marcus felt the world shifting beneath his feet. 15 years of building his business, his reputation, his life, and someone was trying to destroy it all in a single afternoon. But why, he asked. What did I do to deserve this? Think, Marcus, Sarah said urgently. Who benefits if you lose the municipal contract? Who benefits if your business fails? The answer hit him like a physical blow. The other bidders. The companies that lost the municipal contract to me. And who has connections to City Hall? Who has the money and influence to orchestrate something like this? Marcus closed his eyes, the full scope of the conspiracy becoming clear. Pinnacle Development Group. They lost the bid by $3 million. They claimed the process was rigged. Marcus, Diana said quietly, what's the connection between Pinnacle and the Blackwoods? Marcus's eyes snapped open. Karen's maiden name. I remember seeing it on the original Blackwood Construction Incorporation papers when I was doing due diligence. Karen Blackwood, née Pinnacle. She's related to Pinnacle Development. Diana asked. More than related, Marcus said grimly. She's the daughter of Richard Pinnacle, the company founder. This isn't just about the construction contract, this is about the municipal project. They are trying to frame me so the contract gets revoked and awarded to them instead. Sarah's voice came through the phone speaker, sharp and urgent. Marcus, you need to get to your office now. Pull all the security footage from today, back up everything to the cloud, and prepare for war. Because that's what this is. But before Marcus could respond, another voice cut through the conversation, one that made everyone freeze. Mr. Rodriguez. They turned to see a man in an expensive suit approaching, flanked by 2 security guards and a woman with a tablet who looked like she'd stepped out of a corporate boardroom. I'm James Morrison, representing Pinnacle Development Group. I have a court order requiring you to cease all operations immediately pending investigation into allegations of discrimination, fraud, and assault. Morrison held out official-looking documents, his expression smug with the satisfaction of a man who believed he'd won. Diana stepped forward, her hand instinctively moving toward her radio. Sir, I'm going to need to see some identification and verify those court orders. But Marcus was staring at the woman with the tablet, recognition dawning on his face. I know you, he said slowly. You were here earlier. About an hour before Karen showed up. You were filming with your phone. The woman's professional composure flickered for just a moment, but it was enough. Marcus had spent 15 years reading people, spotting the customers who were going to cause trouble, the employees who were stealing, the competitors who were trying to spy on his operations. You were recording the gas station, Marcus continued. His voice growing stronger. Casing the place. Learning the layout, the camera angles, the sight lines. Morrison stepped forward, trying to regain control. Mr. Rodriguez, you are in violation of a court order. I need you to, Diana, Marcus said quietly, arrest them. What? Morrison sputtered. You can't arrest us. We have legal authority. But Diana was already reaching for her handcuffs, a slow smile spreading across her face. Actually, sir, I can arrest you for conspiracy to commit fraud, filing false police reports, and attempted extortion. That's ridiculous. You have no evidence. Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolling to his security app. Actually, I have cameras covering every inch of this station. Including the parking lot across the street where your associate was filming us for the past hour. He turned the phone screen toward Morrison, showing clear footage of the woman with the tablet positioned with a telephoto lens, recording the gas station from multiple angles throughout the afternoon. And here, Marcus continued, swiping to another camera angle, is footage of Karen Blackwood arriving and immediately going to pump number 4, the exact pump that provides the best sight lines for your filming operation. Morrison's face had gone pale. This is all circumstantial. You can't prove anything. Can't I? Marcus smiled, and for the first time all day, it wasn't a pleasant expression. Sarah, are you still on the line? I'm here, his lawyer's voice came through the speaker. Tell them about the phone records. Sarah's voice carried clearly across the gas station. 15 minutes ago, I filed an emergency motion to subpoena all phone records related to this case. We'll have the complete call logs for everyone involved within the hour, including any coordination calls between the Blackwoods, Pinnacle Development, and whoever filed that fraudulent court order. Morrison took a step backward, his corporate confidence cracking. This is harassment. We'll sue you for what? Marcus interrupted. For defending myself against a conspiracy. For exposing fraud. For protecting my business from criminals. He looked around at the few remaining bystanders, then directly into the woman's tablet camera, which was still recording. My name is Marcus Rodriguez. I own Rodriguez Holdings and Desert Oasis gas stations. Today, Pinnacle Development Group attempted to frame me for crimes I didn't commit in order to steal a $47 million municipal contract. They used Karen Blackwood as a pawn, filing false legal documents and false police reports. Diana stepped forward with her handcuffs. James Morrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud and filing false legal documents. But as she reached for Morrison's wrist, he jerked away and sprinted toward a black sedan that had been idling across the street. The woman with the tablet followed, clutching her equipment and shouting into her phone. Diana started to pursue, but Marcus caught her arm. Let them go. Marcus, th. The Desert Oasis gas station had never been quieter. The last of the crowd had dispersed, taking their viral videos and wild stories with them, but the silence felt heavy with anticipation, like the moment before a thunderstorm breaks. Marcus sat in his office behind the station, surrounded by monitors displaying security feeds, financial records, and legal documents. His lawyer Sarah Chen had arrived 20 minutes ago, her usually immaculate appearance slightly disheveled from racing across town through Phoenix traffic. Marcus, Sarah said, spreading papers across his desk, you need to see this. The corruption goes deeper than we thought. She handed him a thick folder marked confidential. Inside were bank records, email transcripts, and what appeared to be financial transfers dating back 6 months. Pinnacle Development didn't just target you, Sarah continued. They've been systematically attacking every major contractor who won bids they wanted. 3 other companies in the past year have lost contracts after mysterious discrimination complaints and fraud allegations. Marcus scanned the documents, his jaw tightening with each page. They've done this before. Multiple times. And each time, the contracts mysteriously got transferred to Pinnacle's subsidiaries after the original winners were disqualified. Diana knocked on the office door and entered without waiting for permission, a privilege earned 3 years of family dinners and shared crises. Marcus, we have a problem. A big one. She held up her phone, showing a news website. The headline made Marcus's blood run cold, local businessman under investigation for hate crimes and fraud. It's everywhere, Diana continued. Channel 7, Fox 10, even the Arizona Republic. Someone leaked a story claiming you attacked Karen Blackwood and have been running fraudulent construction projects. Sarah grabbed Diana's phone, scrolling through the article. This is impossible. The incident happened 3 hours ago. Professional journalism takes time to verify sources, check facts, unless the story was already written, Marcus said quietly. Unless they had the press releases ready to go before Karen ever set foot on my property. The 3 of them sat in stunned silence as the full scope of the conspiracy became clear. This wasn't just about one contract, it was about destroying Marcus's entire business empire, using him as an example to intimidate other competitors. Marcus's personal phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number, check your email. You have 30 minutes to respond. Pinnacle. Marcus opened his laptop and found an email with no subject line, Rodriguez, by now you understand this situation. My daughter's performance today was adequate for our purposes. The media coverage is already destroying your reputation, and by tomorrow morning, the city will have no choice but to revoke your contracts. However, I'm a reasonable businessman. I'm prepared to make this all disappear. Transfer your municipal contract to Pinnacle Development, sell me your gas stations for 30% of market value, and leave Phoenix permanently. You have 30 minutes to accept. After that, the real destruction begins. Richard Pinnacle P.S. That was just day one. Wait until you see what I have planned for the rest of the week. Diana read over Marcus's shoulder, her face flushing with anger. That's extortion. We can arrest him right now. No, Marcus said softly. We can't. He's careful. Notice he never explicitly admits to the conspiracy. A good lawyer could argue this email is just aggressive business negotiation. Sarah was already typing furiously on her laptop. I'm filing emergency motions to freeze Pinnacle's assets and requesting an immediate restraining order. But Marcus is right. Richard Pinnacle has been planning this for months. He's covered his legal bases. Marcus stared at the email, his mind working through options and contingencies. 15 years of building his business, and it could all be gone because one man couldn't accept losing a bid fairly. There has to be something, Diana said. Some way to fight back. Marcus's phone rang. The caller ID showed his oldest daughter, Sophia, calling from her dorm at Arizona State University. Dad. Sophia's voice was tight with worry. I just saw the news. They are saying horrible things about you. About our family. Sophia, sweetheart, it's all lies. Someone is trying to. Dad, it's not just the news. Someone posted my class schedule online. And Carmen's work address. And Miguel's high school. Sophia's voice was shaking now. They know. Where we live, where we go to school, everything. Marcus felt something cold and dangerous settle in his chest. Attacking his business was one thing. Threatening his children was something else entirely. Sophia, I want you to go to campus security right now. Don't go anywhere alone. I'm sending someone to pick you up. Dad, what's happening? Why would someone do this to us? Before Marcus could answer, Diana's radio crackled to life. All units. We have reports of vandalism at Rodriguez Holdings' main office. Graffiti, broken windows. Looks like organized harassment. Marcus hung up with Sophia and immediately called his security company. This is Rodriguez. I need immediate protection. Details for my family. All of them. Right now. Sarah looked up from her laptop, her face pale. Marcus, I just got a call from the DA's office. They are opening a formal investigation into your business practices. Richard Pinnacle has political connections we didn't know about. Diana's radio crackled again. Unit 47, respond to desert. Oasis gas station on Indian School. Reports of suspicious individuals in the parking lot. Marcus looked out his office window and saw them, 3 black SUVs parked across the street, their occupants clearly watching the station. As he watched, one of the men raised a professional camera with a telephoto lens. They are documenting everyone who comes and goes, Marcus realized. Building files on my employees, my customers, anyone associated with my business. Sarah stood up abruptly. That's it. We are calling the FBI right now. This has crossed the line from business competition to organized harassment and intimidation. But before she could reach for her phone, Marcus's computer chimed with another email. This one contained no text, just a video file. Marcus clicked play and watched security footage from his 4th Street construction site, the one where Blackwood Construction had been doing the fraudulent work. But in the video, the timestamp had been altered and the footage had been edited to make it appear that Marcus was directing the installation of the substandard materials. They fabricated evidence, Sarah whispered. Professional-grade video. Editing. This would fool a jury. Diana was on her radio, calling for backup. Outside, more vehicles were arriving, news vans, unmarked sedans, even what appeared to be a private security team. Marcus's phone buzzed with another text, 20 minutes remaining. RP. That's when Marcus Rodriguez, the man who had built an empire from nothing, who had survived 15 years in the cutthroat world of Phoenix business, who had never backed down from a fight in his life, did something that surprised everyone in the room. He smiled. "Sarah," he said calmly, "please call Agent Jennifer Walsh at the FBI Phoenix field office. Tell her it's time." "Time for what?" Diana asked. Marcus turned to face them both, and his smile was the expression of a man holding a royal flush in a poker game where everyone else thought they had winning hands. "Time to spring the trap," he said. "You see, there's something I haven't told you about my private investigation company. We don't just handle security for local businesses." He paused, watching comprehension dawn on their faces. "We've been working with the FBI for 18 months, investigating corruption in Phoenix city contracts. Richard Pinnacle and his network have been under federal surveillance this entire time." Sarah's mouth fell open. "You're saying this whole thing was exactly what we needed to gather evidence for federal racketeering charges," Marcus confirmed. "Karen's performance today wasn't just caught on my security cameras. It was broadcast live to an FBI task force that's been waiting for Pinnacle to finally make his move." Diana stared at him in amazement. "You knew this was coming." "I knew Richard Pinnacle would eventually try to destroy me. I just didn't know when or how. So we prepared for every possibility." Marcus's computer chimed again, but this time it wasn't an email from Richard Pinnacle. It was a message from Agent Walsh, "All teams in position. Ready to execute federal warrants on your signal." Marcus looked at his watch. Richard Pinnacle had given him 30 minutes to surrender everything he'd worked for. He'd been counting down for 18 months, and now there were exactly 12 minutes left. "Diana," Marcus said, "you might want to call for a lot more backup. Because in 12 minutes, the FBI is going to arrest half the corrupt officials in Phoenix city government." Outside, the black SUVs were still watching, their occupants having no idea they were about to become the watched instead of the watchers. Justice, it seemed, had been patient. But its patience was about to expire.